Good morning, everyone. This is your man, Nicholas Shepard from the Shepard Family Enterprise Business Administration, and Information System Consultants. And I am here today to let everyone know um, Happy New Year 2022. I'm hoping that everyone's New Year will be blessed and free from all disappointments. Okay. All right. So let's get into my New Year's subject. Okay. Um, First of all, I would like to introduce my business structure. And as you read here, the Shepherd Family Enterprise, what we do is we help individuals that's trying to start a business but do not know the direction that they would like to go to get them started, to get them going, to get them moving forward. And we set up a business plan and the business guideline for them so that they will continue to push forward. Okay. Now, these services are absolutely free. Okay. It's no charge to the individual. But the only thing is that once we get you started and you need more resource, and then that's when the costs start to incur. All right. So you can contact us, like I say, at 614-680-0536 so that we can get you started, or you can email me at shepherdfamilyenterprise at at hotmail.com. Again, that's Shepherd Family Enterprise at hotmail.com. Okay. Um, this discussion today is going to be very basic. Okay, I haven't made a video in quite some time, but I just want everyone to know that I've been going through a couple of health issues and everything like that, but nothing major, but it's pretty serious. But I'm making it. Okay. Um, Basically, it's all about me trying to keep up with the flow of activities going on in my work life. And also, I'm getting over the flu, so excuse me, keep clearing my throat, my lungs, and sniffing, everything like that. All right. Okay. So, what we're going to do, we're going to get down into it. First of all, um, this is basically an open discussion. I'm not trying to pinpoint any particular thing that I would like to do. Okay. But I would like you to preview my YouTube video and plus. So click subscribe so I can grow my business network. So make sure you click the alarm button so whenever I make more YouTube videos, you will be alerted. Okay, so that is the key. Subscribe to my YouTube videos. I would like you to like them and then put in the comments so that I know exactly what other information or subjects or topics I need to talk about. All right. Okay. Now, um, the basis of this conversation is going to be dealing with a business environment. That's basically what I'll talk about. And before I get started, I would like to say Assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam to all my Islamic brothers and sisters. And may the Most High, most merciful God, all powerful God of the universe, continue to bless all of you, okay? No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing in your life, um, I pray that your success and your finance situation increase a thousandfold, okay? Um, And that's about it. Okay. Um, what I'm going to talk about today is, all my conversations is about intelligence. All right. It's about common sense and dealing with people, everything like that. Excuse me, I'm drinking my teas and stuff like that. So, um, I want you all to understand one thing, okay, about people. Um, there's a lot of people out there that are, I'm not going to say they misguided in any way, but lack of information is the issue. And the reason being is that certain people just do not want to go out and learn pertinent information that will that will assist them in gaining a better understanding on how people in societies and the communities which they live works. Okay. Now, myself, I'm not a very political person. I haven't voted for a president in over 25 years. Now, people say to me, why do I not vote on a president? Well, my answer to this is that my community leaders, okay, my state representatives, lobbyists, my city mayors, these individuals that I come in contact with, or if I interact with them, has the biggest input on my voice when it goes up the chain. And once you start communicating with these individuals and get the content from them, and you understand the laws and the processes that will assist you to move forward in communicating with other political individuals that will get your voice heard, then everything you're doing is for nothing. You're not doing anything for yourself or your community if you do not understand what's going on at your community level politics. Okay. Now there's a lot of individuals out there that may think, well, I vote for the president because he gonna do this, he gonna do this. Well, that's fine and dandy if, okay, and only if that president is in tune with your community's leader's effort. So that if you talk to a president or one of his sponsors and you give him a name of a person in your community that's driving in an effort in your community that's trying to propel your community financially or socially, if that representative that talks directly to the president do not know this individual, then you are not trying hard enough. Okay. You need to get out there in your community and communicate with these individuals. You need to shake hands. You need to talk to the young adults. You need to talk to the parents. You need to get involved in communicating with the law enforcement officers in your community to let them know what your efforts are. You need to get behind their political effort and understand their job and understand why they do the things that they do. Now, there are a lot of young adults that push buttons. There are a lot of individuals say certain things. I see a lot of individuals do a lot of things. I'm not going to say I see, but I see the results of what they do that angers me. Okay. And because all they're doing is just destroying the communities. Now, there are individuals out there that who know who these individuals are that contribute to the destructions of our community, and they're not saying anything to anyone. They think it's funny, but as you understand, as you get older, you got to look at this destruction. You got to look at how your communities dissolve. You are the one that's going to look at this when you about 55 or 65 or 75 years old and say to yourself, what happened? Okay, you are the one what happened. You didn't care. You did not put the effort that was needed to propel your community into the next level, to pair the young adults so that they'll be more in tune to what's going on a political level. Okay, so you have to understand one thing. Okay, I talk to a lot of people. Okay, and I'm not saying that I'm a very spiritual person. People have asked me, "Are you a Christian? Are you a Muslim? Anything like that?" And I have to explain to them that um, I was born a Christian. Okay, I didn't abandon the understanding of Christianity. Okay, I did not. Uh, I did not abandon that. What I did is that I looked out and seen in my communities what it's basically a heavily Christian structured controlled society, and I see how our communities are being deprived and how our communities effort and what's going on is deteriorating on their watch. I don't like this, okay? So, you see churches or just about all around, okay? People go to church, they're going to their home, all right? There are a lot of people, and I'm being serious with you, okay? I'm trying to be as honest and serious as I can with you. You got a lot of people out there because they see what's going on in these communities. They actually turn their back on Christianity. And these are individuals that's not from America, okay? They're from other cultures and other countries that has become atheists because somewhere down the line, the radical understanding of what religion is all about, they thought that it was excluded to Africans, okay, or descendant of Africans. Once the Africans had included themselves in that religious structure and they seen how dedicated they were in that belief, and it was denied to them to understand the fact that yes, these individuals, descendants of Africa, are more dedicated to our cultural religion than some of the ones that is prominent. Now, if you follow the bloodline or the religious cult of these different beliefs and their ideal of paradise, that means if these Africans or descendant of Africans continue to pray as these cultural religions have been doing, they have access to that paradise as well, which a lot of them do not want to see. They don't want to see Africans in their paradise. And so they have become atheists because they feel that their faith has let them down. Okay. Which is totally ridiculous. And the reason why I say that's ridiculous is because that there is no complexion in the heavens. The complexions is just on earth, okay? And the reason why the Europeans, the Chinese, or wherever they are located on the earth take on the characteristics in which they have is based on where the sun is and where they are on earth over a period of time. Okay. So the closer you are to the sun, the darker you're going to get. And the dark you get and the closer you are to the sun, the of course the heat is more intense. So of course it's going to dry up the minerals and the oils on your body, okay, which makes the hair more curly because it's not retaining the oils that's needed to make your hair straight. Okay, the further you get away from the sun, the more your hair returns the oil, and the your hair tends to grow longer. Okay, you understand? That's just how it is. Okay, now people think that just because they are further away from the sun, they are more prominent or more supreme, the ones that are closer to the sun. All right. Do you see how ridiculous this is? You understand? That's a very negative way of thinking. All right. If you understand science, okay, if you look at anything, it once it gets cold, plant life dies. All right. I'm not saying life dies, but there's certain elements that cannot thrive in the cold weather. All right. Just like the genetics in your body naturally protects itself from all types of things. Okay. Whether it's diseases, the sun, the cold, whatever it may be, your body builds a resistance against this thing to keep it alive. Now, the natural pigmentation of the African or African descendants is the melanin in their brain that pushes out the complexion that protects us from radiation and sun rays. That is the reason why our skin complexion is darker. Now, everyone has this melanin. So it happened that Africans and African descendants, or that the melanin in their bodies generate this pigmentation, darker pigmentation, more than the ones that's further from the sun. Now, it's not that they don't have it, it's just that it's not needed. Okay, anything you do not use, you lose. All right, so that is the element. Okay, now the next subject that I'm going to talk about, I'm getting more into it, is religion. I have read the Bible 13 times. Okay, straight. Okay, cover to cover. I'm not talking about jumping around in verses or just read. I'm talking like I read a chapter at a time and made sure I understood it. Okay, and it took me about 2.5 years to do this. All right, every day, probably twice, sometimes 3 times a day, I read a chapter and I made sure I understood this chapter or the verses. Not only did I read the chapters, I researched the content, the areas, the locations of the different things the Bible was describing to find out where they were on earth at that time. And I found out a lot of these areas were not in Europe, the far western part of Europe. It was closer east or the south, okay, or within the borders of Africa. Now, I also found out the New Testament, okay, was written by Moses. All right. I had no idea the New Testament was written by Moses. I thought the New Testament was wrote by someone else before Moses, all right? But I found out that the Jewish description of the Bible was written by Moses. Moses actually took a story that predated himself and put it in terms where his people understood it and used the characters and the figures that they believe in to describe these images. Now, the images have always been here. It is that the cultures of life, past cultures or cultures from the past describe these deities totally different than the people that describe them 2,000 or 3,000 years later. So you have to understand the way Christianity is today is not the way it was 100, 300 years ago. The Bible has changed, the people have changed, the understanding has changed, the movement has changed. All these things have changed in the Bible. Okay, they rewrote the Bible, they revised the Bible, because if they did not revise the Bible, people would not continue to serve the God that the current Bible was speaking of. All right. Now, if you did your research about, they call it the Nicene, somebody, let me see what it is, Nicene, um, creed, and how they structured the whole New Testament, right? That had nothing to do with Moses, had nothing to do with John or the disciples. All this structure took place in the 1450s. So research it, find out about it, find out when the New Testament was structured and put together. These individuals was very, very cultural diverse, culturally ignorant, and socially incompetent. Now we think because they were talking about the Bible, they were the Christians that we have today. They were not. Most of those Christians during that time was very brutal to society. People that weren't part of their culture, they enslaved them, they beat them, they killed them, they tortured them, they displaced them. They did all this stuff. Christians during that time was very beautiful, very brutal. They try to say other religions was just as brutal, but you gotta understand is that these other religions or cultures of these religions did not, you know, push a such tragic description on society and kill millions and millions and millions of innocent people just to get their point across. Okay. Now, it's a shame that our society is the way it is today because if you people say, well, things change. Okay, things change. All right, I get that. Things change. But you also have to understand if things change, do you understand the change? Okay? Do you really understand the change that happened? If you understood the change that happened, how did it affect your life? There are people or women that I come in contact talk about, okay, they talk about men. I mentioned this in my previous videos, okay, in my state of awareness video, which this video gonna be a part of. State of awareness 2. You have to understand that in the past, all right, women did not have the same authority. I don't want to say rights, did not have the same authority that they have today. There are women out there say, well, women were warriors and stuff like that. And then someone's trying to explain to me that there were men in Africa, or there are men in Africa that take on children as wives. And they asked me, would I do the same thing? And I explained to them, how could you ask me a question when I wasn't born in that culture? You understand? There are people that's born Chinese. So how can you ask a Chinese, how can you be Chinese? Okay. There are people that are Chinese that were born in America and are Chinese. How can you ask them, how can they be Chinese? Okay. You can't even compare that type of thought. You understand? That is a very naive and ignorant statement, because if you were born there in that culture, your belief system is different, especially if there's no influences around you that would change your ideal of what is acceptable with the modern world. Okay, you cannot say or look down on a culture of events when they have no insight on your belief system. Okay. So this is it. If I lived in that culture and didn't know about Christianity, did not know about Islam, I was very tribal. I'm like fifth or sixth generation in that culture, and that was their belief. Possibly, I would take, I would take, I'm not saying interest, but I would be part of that belief. Now, of course, you may not want to take on, and I think that when they talk about the children, I'm thinking about how they did in the biblical days. In the biblical days, they would take on that first daughter would be awarded to the king or the prince, all right, as a wife. Now, you understand that just because you have a wife, that don't mean you have to have sex with her. Okay, that don't mean nothing. I can have 20 wives, don't have sex with one, and the wife can only be a person that works in the field. That's how it is. That's how the Quakers do it. The women out in the field works while the man is out there attending other activities. That's how it is. But you don't hear anything about that. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear about the Mormons having more than one wife. You don't hear about the Quakers having more than one wife. There's a lot of other religions out there that people have more than one wife. See, you don't hear about that, you see, because they suppress it. Okay. But then when it comes to Africa, it's an issue. All right. You understand? Knowledge is key. And then you must understand Africa is not like United States. United States is a lot smaller than Africa. You understand? Okay, United States can fit in the continent of Africa 5 times. You understand? 5 times. So if Africa is that huge, you understand? If Africa is that huge, how can you even say that everyone that's not a Christian is going to hell when there was no Christianity per se, a structured Christian belief before the 1450s? So, if that is the case, Everyone before the Dutch created the Nicene Creed is in hell. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you? So now let's move forward 300 years. If you're not structured or thinking or living the life of the Christian of the 1450s, you are going to hell. Does that make sense? See, that means that I don't care where you at in church, and like you're going to hell. You can, I don't care if you go to church every day. I don't care if you think you've saved, sanctified. You going to hell because the way you live your life today is not the way they lived in the 1450 where they structured the Christian faith. So what you gonna do? You gonna turn away from Christianity now? No, you're not. You're gonna keep on living the life that you live based on the culture that introduced you to the faith. That's it. All right. So another thing, a young lady stated to me is about. She stated, um, how can um a child be married. Okay. So I had to explain to her that 1,000, 2,000 years ago, all right. See, in America, and since the capitalistic and the Western influence on a lot of parts of the world have settled a lot of the countries and the continent to be more diplomatic, and the only reason why they do that because the weaponry that they have created is so massive. Excuse me. It's so it's so massive. One person can kill about 300 people. Okay. In the past, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years ago, it was man for man. It is how close you can get to the person that you were fighting. Okay. So then you got to understand the average age of the soldier as time went on, because people didn't live to get my age. Okay, I'm about 60. You did not live to be 35, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't you didn't live to be. If you lived to be 25, you was an old person. Okay, you were old as hell. You know what I'm saying? Because the wars and stuff that was going on, you was constantly on the battlefield. Okay, you wasn't hiding from that fact at all. Okay, I'm talking like you didn't walk around like I ain't going to fight. They would kill you. You know what I'm saying? Or they would take you as a slave and put you on the front line. I'm telling you, you had no choice. So the soldiers became younger and younger. That is the reason why they took the male children at the age of 6 and they trained them to be fighters. By the time they were 13, 14, 15, they were masters at their craft. I'm saying, and if they got to be 20, you understand? If they got to be 20 without getting killed, these guys, man, was like so torn as far as like wounded, they couldn't fight. Okay, and half of them is on about to get ready to die anyway. And they had a place they used to go to live until they died. They gave them a plot of land so that. But then they still had to deal with younger, you know, uh, um, um, we call it renegade thieves are probably teenagers, right? You know what I'm saying? And they like 15 and above, or probably close to 20. that were riding up and killing people, man. Now the people that you see now in the military, they retiring and all this like that. That's bull. You know what I'm saying? Back on them days, because you weren't going to retire at no 50 some years of age. A general wasn't going to get tired. wasn't going to retire at no 60. Okay, because the wars were so massive. Yeah, you had to get up close. There was no guns. There was no planes. There was no fucking ships shooting rockets 3 miles out. There was no what they call them, drones and shit like that, or uh, 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 Hueys or Nighthawk. None of these superpower aircraft, man, that can wipe out 300 people, man, before they send soldiers in, man. It just wasn't happening. It just wasn't happening, man. You had to get up close. You had to get on the ground. You had to get around and fight for territory, man. See, because if the United States didn't have that power, man, there's no way they would have been able to win a war. I'm talking like even in Vietnam and World War II, the United States would have no way and no like or form would have won that war against Germany, man, by themselves, man. The United States really tried to stay out of that war because they were still trying to recoup, what I'm saying, from World War I and the Spanish American War and the Civil War. They lost a lot of people, man. People did not want to see the war, but they went into World War I, and joined the Allied forces. Okay, but see, you gotta understand. They create the Allied forces was basically a bigger gang fighting against a smaller gang. You understand what I'm saying? Because whoever is bigger, that's who United States is going to help. You know what I'm saying? Because United States don't want to be embarrassed. Like they went off into Vietnam, but a lot of the world wanted to stay out of that war. And the United States, man, even though they did a lot of damage, man, the ground soldiers actually got their butt kicked. You know what I'm saying? Because they couldn't fight against the ground forces that the Chinese was supplying the Republic of Vietnam. And I'm talking like you talking like hundreds of thousands of Chinese soldiers, man, that was in Vietnam, man, fighting as Americans, and we weren't prepared to fight that type of war, you know. And even though United States is fighting against the Vietnamese, they knew that Chinese was backing them, and they knew the Russians was backing them. So it's why they didn't invade China, why they didn't invade Russia when they knew they was backing these invasions. You know why? Because they knew they couldn't war in that war by themselves. You understand? They knew they couldn't. So they stayed there in Vietnam and fought and died. Until they realized, okay, it's time for us to get the hell out of here, man, because we running out of money. Okay, because people stopped investing in a war effort, man. They're like, we're not giving you no money. Get your ass out of there. You know what I'm saying? They don't want you there. You killed all these people. It didn't change nothing. And, you just fight. What you fight for now? They look at you, okay. You went over there to say the French. The French ran away and left y'all there. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why the French was there and in the first damn place, because in World War II, after the Chinese went in there and was fucking or excuse me, the Japanese was in there, running every damn thing and stuff like that. The Australia was in there first, and they didn't disarm the Japanese. They disarmed the Vietnamese and stuff like that. Which really pissed them off, and the Japanese was still terrorizing the villages and stuff like that. Like that, and they didn't do Americans didn't do nothing about it, man. So as the rest of the Western world pulled out, the Vietnamese started rebelling and stuff against the Japanese that was over there, and then of course the United States started helping the same people they was fighting against, you know. And then as they had started helping the Japanese to fight, the Japanese left and left the Austrians there, and then the French went over there and stuff like that, and tried to fight, got their butt kicked, and the United States sent special ops groups over there to help them, and they pulled out and left the United States over there. The United States with our pride, say, listen, we're a stronger force, we're gonna kick their butt. This is a small country, which really they got their butt kicked. You know what I'm saying? Because they weren't gonna let with the Western world run Asia. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing now in Afghanistan, man. You're not gonna run, the Islamic world, man. It's not going. They can do it diplomatically, but as far as a might, man, sending the foot soldiers in, man, you're not going to change a person's culture, man. You're not going to make a Muslim American in Persia. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Them people been over there for thousands of years, man. You're not going to make them. You're not going to make them anything different than what they are. That's why the United States never invaded them motherfuckers, man. They sent in like people over there to try to, you know, they sending people over there to try to kill and stuff like that. People other than that, they're not gonna say, they send in planes to do a little ops mission, but after they do that shit, man, they drop a lot of money in the motherfuckers' lap. You know what I'm saying? Say, hey, listen, man. They was getting on our damn nerves. So here go this right here. You can send X amount of imports in our country. We'll buy so much from you to so that you and the government say, okay, all right, don't do that shit no more. You know, yeah, see what I'm saying. So that's how this shit works, man. I do the same damn thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm trying to diplomat, man. You gotta get into politics, man. That's why a poor person never get rich. Not a stupid poor person. Be rich, man. You gotta be very knowledgeable. You gotta be very strong minded and very understanding, man, on a strategic level. Cause you'll never get wealthy if you don't cut throats. You know what I'm saying? You gotta cut throats, man. And some people gonna get shitted on. Sad to say. I mean, somebody gonna get screwed. You know what I'm saying? Because if between you and another person getting a job, you gonna look at them like I'm not gonna step down so you can work. I got a family to feed. You know what I'm saying? Nor are you gonna get them part of your paycheck and some saying to help take care of their family. You just not gonna do it, man. You know what I'm saying? That's our cold fucking thing, man. This person probably need that job more than you, but you just beat them on the interview process. You know what I'm saying? Let the best man win. But step, this person's still starving. Some of these people wind up being criminals, man, because they can't. They looking for a way to take care of their families, and they just nothing they can do. Okay, so that's my description of what I've seen so far. All right, I'm quite sure I'm going to view a lot of different things in the 2022. I would update you on a lot of different things and that I discover and that I witness to give you a better insight how to look at society as we see it today so that you will be able to you'll be a better person. All right, so again, thank you very much, and I would like for you to again go to my website if you can, and um which I have here, and then I got my blog site right here, and then my business site. And once you do that, just take a look, at what's going on. Like I said, this is my blog site right here. Can you see? I don't think you can see my blog. So hold on, let's see. What did I do wrong? Let's see. It's a camera videos. Okay, so okay, here it is. So this is my blog site, and this is my website right here, and just read through it. It's a little bit intense like that. Look at some of my videos on Facebook. This is my Facebook. Page here is facebook.com, Shepherd Family Enterprise dot business consultants. You can go in there and then you can book an interview and find out. Also, what I'm doing, I'm looking for some bookkeepers. I'm gonna pay them $10 an hour. You don't have to work that long, but I need some things, some receipts put in. Also, I have this Microsoft database that I'm working on right now. It's very technical, but I'm working on it. But I also have some things that I'm working on, which you see here. I'm keeping track of what's going on. That's part of the project, managing my project and stuff like that. So I've been working on this for all year. As you can see, I can go down, down, down. See how long I've been working on it. So I've been working on this since October 2020. All right. Well, I've been working long, probably way longer than this, but I actually been utilizing this format since October 20 because I found out that what I was doing, I was, I was, got to a point when I really needed to be more refined in how I was going to generate an invoice, and it's getting down more into the analytics of what's going on. So I got to look at these different things. I got to make sure that the things that I put down is in tune to what I want, so that there be no mistakes. Because when I generate these invoices and stuff like that and start paying people to do certain things or request a budget from certain companies, it's allocated properly and with understanding that the money that they give me to work on their project will be well spent. Okay. All right. So again, thank you very much. And um, what I'd like for you to do is go back to the Shopify Enterprise and review this video again to see exactly what I have to offer, and go out to my websites and see exactly what I'm doing and how I can contribute to your company. All right. Thank you very much and have a wonderful new year.